The phone vibrated on the cafe table at exactly Badanshur Arfin a.m., cutting through the low hum of morning chatter. Emma Parker looked down, expecting a work email or a weather alert. Instead, she saw her sister's name. One short message, 8 words that landed like a door slamming shut. Don't bother coming to the wedding. For a moment, the world felt oddly quiet. The espresso machine hissed behind the counter. A couple laughed near the window. Outside, Boston traffic moved like any other weekday. But for Emma, everything stopped. She read the message again, slower this time, hoping she had misunderstood. There was no follow-up, no explanation. No, we'll talk later. It's just that sentence. Cold and final dot, Emma wrapped both hands around her coffee cup, letting the heat press into her palms. Her sister Rachel didn't send messages like this. Rachel loved drama, yes, but she also loved control. If something was wrong, Rachel usually called. She explained. She argued. She made sure she was heard. This felt different. Across the small table, Lena noticed Emma's face change. What happened? She asked, already leaning forward. Emma turned the phone around without speaking. Lena's eyebrows lifted. She can't be serious. Emma gave a small, careful shrug. She usually is. The wedding had been planned for months. Emma had helped with everything. She was asked to do venue research, guest list notes, even calming Rachel during late-night panic calls. She had listened patiently while Rachel worried about flowers, seating charts, and whether her future in-laws liked her enough. Emma never complained. She never reminded Rachel that she had rearranged work schedules or canceled a weekend trip to help. She believed being supportive meant staying quiet. Now, she wondered if quiet had been mistaken for unimportant. Emma paid for her coffee and stepped out into the crisp fall air. The sky was clear, bright blue, almost too cheerful for the moment she was in. As she walked home, her phone buzzed again. A call from Rachel. She stopped on the sidewalk, staring at the screen. Part of her wanted answers immediately. Another part, the tired, long silent part, wanted space. The call ended. Then came another. And another dot by the time Emma reached her apartment. There were 12 missed calls. She placed her keys on the counter, kicked off her shoes, and sat on the edge of the couch. The phone buzzed again. She didn't answer. She wasn't ready to hear another emotional storm without knowing what she had done wrong. Growing up, Emma and Rachel had been close, but never equal. Rachel was bold, confident, always leading. Emma followed, quietly filling the gaps. Their parents often said Rachel speaks for the family, as if Emma didn't need to. Emma learned early that love sometimes meant stepping back. The phone buzzed, nonstop through the afternoon. Emma turned it face down and focused on work emails she barely read. Her chest felt tight, like she was holding her breath without meaning to. Around sunset, she finally checked her phone. 30-7 missed calls. 5 voicemails. All from Rachel. Emma listened to the first one. Emma, please call me back. I didn't mean it like that. The second voicemail was louder. Why aren't you answering? This is important. The third cracked. Rachel's voice shook. You're my sister. You don't get to disappear. Emma stopped listening. That night, rain tapped softly against her windows. She sat at her kitchen table, a mug of tea untouched beside her. Her phone lit up again and again, the screen flashing with the same name. By midnight, there were more than 100 missed calls. Emma leaned back in her chair, exhaustion settling into her bones. She thought about how many times she had answered Rachel at inconvenient moments. How often she had put her own feelings aside to make room for her sister's emotions. And yet, when Rachel pushed her away, it had taken only one message. Emma finally picked up her phone, not to call back, but to read the message again. Don't bother coming to the wedding. The words still stung, but now they also felt revealing. For the first time, Emma wondered if Rachel had always expected her to stay silent, to accept whatever role was given or taken away. Emma turned off the phone and went to bed, staring at the ceiling long after the lights were out. She didn't know what would happen next. She only knew that something between them had broken, and it wasn't something a single apology could fix. Outside, The rain slowed. Inside, Emma let herself breathe again, unsure of what the morning would bring, but certain that the story wasn't over yet. The morning sun streamed through the blinds, casting long stripes across Emma Parker's living room. She sat at the window with her coffee, watching the city wake up. Today was Rachel's wedding. A day she had spent months helping plan in silence, a day she had now been told she wasn't welcome to attend. The message still echoed in her mind. Don't bother coming to the wedding. She had tried to ignore it, tried to move on, but the heartache lingered like a shadow. Emma stirred her coffee absent-mindedly, the steam curling around her face, and thought about every memory she shared with her sister. The late-night talks, the laughter over inside jokes, the whispered secrets in the dark. None of that mattered to Rachel now, or at least that's what Emma had believed. She had spent the night replaying every interaction, every small argument, trying to understand where things went wrong. But the truth was messy, like spilled coffee on the counter. Impossible to clean completely. A knock at the door shattered her thoughts. Emma's heart skipped a beat. She wasn't expecting anyone. She opened the door slowly and froze. Rachel stood there in her wedding dress, the satin catching the morning light. Her makeup was flawless, but streaked with tears, and her hands trembled slightly. Behind her, the black town car waiting to take her to the ceremony made the moment feel surreal. Like a scene in a movie Emma had once watched, but never imagined living. I didn't know where else to go, Rachel whispered, her voice breaking. Emma stepped aside, letting her sister in without a word. They sat in the quiet of the apartment, the air thick with unsaid words. Rachel's hands clutched the folds of her dress, twisting them nervously. For a long moment, neither spoke. The only sound was the faint hum of the city below and the soft ticking of the wall clock. Finally, Rachel exhaled sharply. I panicked, she admitted, the words tumbling out. I felt like everyone expected me to be perfect, and I didn't know how to handle it. When Daniel asked why you weren't in the bridal party, I said things I shouldn't have. I blamed you to cover my own fear. Emma's chest tightened. She had expected anger, maybe a defensive rant, but this honesty was new. It stung, yes, but it also opened a door Emma hadn't thought she would see again. You erased me, Emma said softly. Not accusing, not shouting, just stating the truth. I did, Rachel admitted, tears rolling freely down her cheeks. And I was wrong. I thought pushing you away would make things easier. But it didn't. I missed you. I missed us. Emma looked at her sister, the woman who had once been her closest friend and fiercest rival. She saw the fear, the vulnerability, the desperate need for connection. And despite the hurt, despite the 1,000 missed calls, felt her own heart soften. You don't need my forgiveness today, Emma said gently. You need honesty. From yourself? Rachel nodded, stunned, and for the first time a small, grateful smile broke across her face. I hope someday you'll come back into my life, she whispered. Emma stood and walked to the window, looking out over the city streets bathed in morning light. She thought about their childhood, about how they had always drifted into separate paths, but somehow ended up in the same spaces. I hope so too, she said quietly, turning back to Rachel. The car horn outside reminded them that life was moving. Wedding time, waiting. Rachel adjusted her veil, trying to collect herself. Emma didn't need to say goodbye. She didn't need to give permission. She just let Rachel leave with a nod, a silent acknowledgement that things were changing slowly, but they were changing for the better. After Rachel left, Emma felt a strange emptiness, but it was not the same as before. It was lighter, a space where forgiveness and understanding could grow. She made another cup of coffee and sat by the window, her thoughts wandering as the morning faded into afternoon by the time the sun began to dip. Emma found herself at the cafe she frequented, the same place she had sat the morning after receiving Rachel's harsh message. Lena joined her, noticing immediately the calm in Emma's posture, the subtle smile that hadn't been there before. They talked about everything and nothing, laughing at stories from work and life. Letting the city hum around them, at the table next to Emma, a man caught her eye. He smiled politely, and when their eyes met again, there was a spark of connection. His name was Ethan Miller, and within minutes, casual greetings turned into light conversation. Emma felt herself relax in a way she hadn't felt in months. For the first time, the pain from Rachel's rejection seemed to make room for something new, something unspoken yet promising. They walked together through the city streets, the air crisp and filled with the scent of autumn leaves. Emma realized that sometimes life forces you out of one story so that you can begin another. The missed calls, the heartbreak, the rejection, they had been painful. Yes, but they had also made her stronger, ready to recognize connection when it finally appeared, as the evening sky painted the city in gold and orange. Emma felt a sense of quiet hope. She sipped her coffee and looked at Ethan's smiling face. The day had begun with rejection, uncertainty, and silence, but it ended with laughter, conversation, and the possibility of new beginnings. She understood something important. Being left out of one story didn't mean the story was over. Sometimes it meant something better was waiting to be discovered, something that might change everything she thought she knew about love, family, and herself. Emma Parker had survived the silence, faced the hurt, and stepped into a new chapter of life, one filled with connection, hope, and the kind of unexpected love that made every missed call worth it. And as she finished the last sip of her coffee, watching the city lights flicker on one by one, Emma realized that sometimes the hardest goodbyes make space for the most beautiful hellos.